Okay, so we are live. Yay, yay, yay. And a very warm welcome to my dear friend Melissa Stoller. How are you?
Thank you. Hi, Mel. I'm so happy to be here. So happy to see you again. I know we had a little catch up on Zoom a week or two ago, and it was so nice to see your smiling face and to say hello. But I'm really happy to be here live today.
If you're not careful, you'll get to see my smiling face up close in New York next month.
I know. I can't
Um,
wait.
we can talk about that later. Anyway, so I'm going to forget who I am. I am Mel Rosenberg, the host of the Children's Literature Channel of the New Books Network. And we are here. I'm here with Melissa because I want to talk to you today mainly about your gorgeous book, Hazel and Mabel, which published with Gnome Road, one of my favorite children's book presses
Love it.
ever, Sandra Sutter. And
Absolutely.
show us this gorgeous book.
Thank you.
I know you basically mostly up until now you've been writing for the Jewish community, wonderful books.
Thank
And I'm tempted to call this Hazel and Mazel,
you.
or Hazel and Mazel.
I mean,
Um,
why not? We know, Mazel, we can all
so
use some good luck.
for sure. So this is really an incredible success, I think. And I've tried to sell Sandra stuff, and no, no, no. And I want to hear about your yes. A few words about the book. Show us a little bit about it, and then take us through the whole process.
Great. Thank you so much, Mel. I am so excited about this book. It released on September 30th, 2025. So just very recently, Gnome Road Publishing. Yes, Sandra Sutter is an absolute dream to work with. And I can tell you a little bit more about that process. Absolutely. And
You,
Anita
you, you,
Bagdi. Yeah, big fan.
you're
We're all
going.
big
You're going to. You're going to.
Absolutely. Big, big fan. And Anita Bagdi, the illustrator, is just incredible. She has other books as well, a few with Gnome Road that are really worth checking out. This is the front cover, as you can see. The back cover she carried through with the little hot air balloon and the messenger owl, because writing and storytelling takes a lot of form in the book. And of course, she put the hearts on the cover, because it's Hazel and Mabel, two hearts apart. So there's a lot of heart imagery. And the minute Sandra showed me some early thumbnail sketches, I said, oh my gosh, like Anita just hit it out of the park. She really understood the story and she just brought it to life with such beautiful illustrations and imagery. I love especially the beginning end page with the clouds with Hazel and Mabel's faces. And there's also a dinosaur and a heart. I know it's a little bit hard to see. And clouds figure in the story because at one point the characters look up at the sky and look at the clouds and look at the cloud formations and start to tell stories about them. And then at the end pages have some stars and some beautiful star shapes with more hearts and the characters. So from day to night throughout the story, she really like did lots of beautiful illustrations. So I can tell you a little bit about the way I got my inspiration.
Hold on, hold on. First of all, Melissa, please read to us a little bit of the lovely
Oh,
prose and show us a few
absolutely.
spreads of the interior.
Absolutely. I can start with this front page. Sandra always puts a cute little gnome because Gnome Road Publishing. So if you notice in her books, each little gnome at the beginning is centered around like a little aspect of the story. So here the gnome is writing letters and there's a little post box, which is so cute. So if you look at her other books, you can play that game and follow them. And then we have Hazel and Mabel. Okay, here we go. Hazel and Mabel knew they would always be best friends. Even if Mabel grabbed the last gumdrop, even if Hazel snored during sleepovers, even when Mabel moved away, and you see her going in that hot air balloon, which I love this double page spread. Okay. So obviously it's a story about friendship, about moving, about reconnecting. Their hearts remembered afternoon adventures, and letters flew back and forth, keeping them connected. I love that spread as well. And here's more letter writing. They wrote about their favorite memories, their silliest moments, and how they couldn't wait to see each other again. And I love how Anita did like these handwritten letters. So sweet.
Or maybe paw written letters.
Oh my gosh, actually love that. Paw written for sure.
Yeah.
But time passed.
And
They made,
By the way, Hazel is a southpaw.
oh, absolutely.
Are you a
Yeah, you see.
southpaw?
No, I'm not, but maybe Anita is.
Mabel
But
is. Yeah.
yeah, but time passed. They made different pals and enjoyed new outings. And here's that little owl for the owl post where they're posting their letters, which is such a cute detail. And here they are, making new friends, which happens when someone moves away, and the person is left behind and has to make new friends, and then the other person moves and they have to adjust and things shift and change and they have to make new friends. But then one day, 5 magic words landed in Hazel's paw. Hazel placed the letter in her pocket close to her heart. So there's the beautiful heart imagery that is carried through. And the words are, I will see you soon. If you can see that. And now here comes the kind of the crux of the story and the problem. When Mabel arrived, Hazel opened her arms wide in a big bear hug. Words flowed, smiles spread, a rainbow lit the sky. Yet a few gray clouds dotted the horizon. Hazel pointed to the meadow. Let's fly kites like we always did. Mabel kicked the dirt. Maybe something else? Hazel plucked a pebble from the grass. How about skipping stones? Mabel frowned. I haven't practiced. Maybe another time. Hazel glanced hopefully at Mabel. We can paint on the hill if you want. Mabel shrugged. I don't want to get paint on my paws. So, yeah, exactly. So this is kind of the crux of it. Like their friendship shifted, Mabel moved away, their friendship shifted, things moved on. And then when they come back together, they think it's going to be as it exactly was. But as we all know, things never stay the same. Things are not exactly as they once were. Things shift, friendship shifts, and people change a little bit. And sometimes you like different things. And so the rest of the story is how do Hazel and Mabel use their creativity and their shared, knowledge of what they used to do before to kind of think creatively and figure out how their friendship can survive and maybe even be better and maybe even grow. And they try all kinds of different things. And then this is one thing kind of more toward the end, which I talked to you about a minute ago. They look up at the clouds and they realize this is something they can do together. They love looking at cloud shapes. And they spy different things and they spy 2 hearts. And that kind of helps them realize like their hearts are connected and their hearts are always going to be connected. And they had tried other things that just didn't work. And then they realized there was something else they shared, the letters that they wrote back and forth. And they realized they love to write letters, they love to tell stories. And here's this gorgeous heart, and it's really a heart of imagination. And all these things wrapped up in here of like how their little minds are whirring around, whirling and twirling and thinking like, how can our hearts still be connected? And they end up connecting through storytelling, through letter writing, through looking at the clouds, and like they know their hearts are always connected in the end. And so, you kind of have to see the end, how it actually ends, but it's a lot of creativity and a lot of focus on storytelling, letter writing, and being creative to keep a friendship back on, alive. And I kind of always say, how do they get their heart of their friendship beating again? So that's it. I loved working on it.
It's a lovely story, and it's
Yep.
classic and universal, and I'm in love with it. There's two things that that we teach people not to do, and that is to write about things that don't exist anymore, like letter writing. And I love that you bucked a you know the regular way
Like
of
the
doing
like
it.
that trends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know what? I
And
like I like
yeah,
letter writing. I mean, of course, I write on text all the time. I text you all the time. I write to you on Facebook Messenger. Like there are,
yeah, but
WhatsApp,
Melissa,
but
this
I
is
love
the
letter writing.
classic. I'm writing now a story about a grandfather and her granddaughter, and it's also a little bit autobiographical. And there's the thing about letters, where she says, "What are letters?" I mean, who knows what letters are? So congratulations for not bowing to popular wisdom.
Thank you.
And it is a throwback, and it's a lovely throwback. And the
Thank
other
you.
thing is that I love is it's not such a popular subject.
Thank you.
of friends growing apart. I don't know that many books, children's books. I'm sure there are, but I don't know that many.
Thank you.
Um,
Wait, I want to just say
and
one more thing about letter writing. My college age daughter loves actually getting letters in her college mailbox. Like I text her every day, of course, but I do also send letters, and I think it's fun for kids, even if they're not writing letters, she likes to get a little something in the mail. So I think it is a throwback, but yet some people still enjoy it. So I do appreciate that you said that. Yeah, and I
I,
can't wait to
I,
read your notebook.
I think it's well, my book has to be finished and sold, Melissa, and we know how difficult both of those are.
Yeah.
So here's a throwback for you because I'm much older. There's a song from the 1940s, I think, called Two Friends, Lovers No More. Uh, it's called Just Friends. Two friends drifting apart, two friends, but one broken heart. I'm going to send that to you.
Okay, thank
So
you.
I'm throwing back to songs from 80 years ago about the ending of love and friendship. And so now what I want to know is this book, which is universal, and it's not the regular topic, and it's not a regular a up-to-date book about texting and emojis. How you sold it to Sandra?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. And it's kind of exactly what you were getting at. When I first queried her, she wrote back that what she liked about this book was she said there were so many, and there were a lot of excellent stories that I used as mentor texts and contexts about moving. Like, when if someone moves and then they move and it takes a minute to adjust to a new place, and the story is centered on them and their move and how they adjust. And she said there are so many stories like that, but she hadn't really seen a story about what comes after the move with the friendship and how the friendship shifts and changes and kind of comes back at the end. And so you hit it right on the head. That's exactly what she saw in the story that she really liked, that distinguished it from the market, which actually does have quite a number of beautiful moving stories. So that's exactly what she liked.
Moving stories which are moving.
Absolutely. And they are.
Sure,
And I love
sure.
them. And I read them all. I think I read them all because, to see what was out there. And yes, I was moved by them.
All right, sorry, terrible pun. Yeah, okay, great. Go
But
ahead.
it was good. It was a good pun. So yeah, I think that's what she appreciated about
You
this.
wrote to Sandra. Does she know you? Was it a cold query? What happened?
No, it wasn't a cold query. I knew Sandra. We had both taken classes with Mira Reisberg, the Children's Book Academy, years ago. We were both in those classes, and then I was an assistant, and I actually still blog once a month for the Children's Book Academy, and I write blogs about finding ideas. So every month, I kind of just give a few quick, short writing prompts about how to find and capture ideas. So we were both in that. Yeah, exactly. We were both in those classes and we met years ago as writers. And then Sandra started Gnome Road Publishing and invited people to query. And of course I did. And I sent several stories, and I've sent several stories over the years. And she's very, very particular, as she should be, because it's a small press that's growing. And she has an amazing list, but she's very careful about what she chooses for her list. And she picks different, and I know you've interviewed her, so you know this, and she is careful about her list and how things go together for each season and the year. So I was very happy and very excited that she chose this story. And I mean, I've queried other things that she hasn't chosen because that's just what publishing is. So I was thrilled. I was really thrilled that she found the heart in the story, and it was something that she was interested in and that she thought would work for Gnome Road Publishing. And I mean, it came out just a few months ago, and I really could not be happier. When because your book I know is coming out soon. When you give the book to a publisher and then they pair you with an illustrator, you don't really know how that's going to go. I knew when she told me that it was Anita Bagdi.
Yeah, Melissa, you're so kind. And you find a lovely way of saying things. We have no bloody idea what the book is going to look like.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's so true. And I'm a little bit of like a type A personality. So it's, I had to learn at the beginning that you have to give up control to the publisher, to the art director, to the illustrator, and all of that. But what I have found in every one of my books is that it comes out way better than you could have ever imagined. I mean, at least that's been my experience. The characters are so incredible, nothing like what I imagine usually. So, I mean, it's always been such a happy surprise, I guess. But I was going to say, I did know that when she told me that she was going to pair my book with Anita Bagdi, I did know that Anita had illustrated my piano. Also for Gnome Road Publishing. So then, of course, I actually had that book because I had bought it because it's a beautiful book. And so I did know the quality of her illustration. So I knew I was going to be in good hands, but you don't really know how your book is going to turn out. So, of course, I was
I,
thrilled.
I just wrote about that today, about this, giving, people don't know this, but when
Yeah,
you are lucky enough to find a traditional publisher, they usually team you up with an illustrator, and the illustrator takes the story and goes off and illustrates it.
exactly.
And you kind of lose your baby but as you said so beautifully that you get your baby back in the end.
Yeah,
The,
yeah,
the other thing I learned is that, okay, so you lose your story, you lose your story to the editor at the publisher, in your case, Sandra, which is a good person to lose it to.
exactly.
And then you lose it to the illustrator and the art director, and then it comes out and you lose it twice more. You lose it to your audience,
Mm,
the children and the parents and the grandparents, and you lose it also to the people who are writing reviews.
right.
In my case, the reviews, they were very nice, but they were always they misinterpreted what I
Interesting.
meant in my story. And
Interesting.
then I realized that there's no such thing as misinterpreting, because they have their reader response, and if I talk about an orange and they happen to see it as the planet Uranus, well, what am I going to say?
Exactly. No, it's so true. And that's such a good way to put it, Mel, that you lose, you kind of giving up control at each step of the way, but it comes back to you in many ways. And I know when I talk to students about this, or parents or people that, that I've discussed the story with and the book with, it's so interesting to see what people say, because it's like when you're looking at a piece of art, like people interpret it and bring their own life experiences to a piece of art or to a book, to a story. And so the children that I've spoken to, or the parents I've spoken to, mentioned like, oh, I moved, or my friend moved, and then this and that happened, and that's how it related to me. But it also doesn't have to be a story only about moving. Someone could just be in school and their best friend of the day is now not their best friend tomorrow. And kids that I've worked with have said to me, this kind of resonated with me on the level like, boy, I had a best friend and now I don't have that best friend anymore and I'm trying to get it back. So it kind of resonates with people, and they bring to it what is going on in their own life, as we do, when we read a book or
Yeah.
listen to music or see art.
So, Melissa, I'm going to make this even more difficult for you, because the book, in my mind, is written and illustrated for kindergarten, maybe first grade. And these experiences come to us a bit later, um, of moving apart physically. And I, I, I can see how young children will love the story, even though they don't send letters, they don't know what letters are, they don't have the experience
Yeah.
of friends moving apart for any period of time. They just haven't been on the planet for long enough. And yet there's something endearing about this story.
Thank you. Thank you so much. No, I appreciate that, Mel. And I also have to say, I was inspired to write this because mainly because my children always had friends who moved, always. And I think part of that is maybe because we live in New York City, in Manhattan. And a lot of times when people have young families, like we stayed in Manhattan, I raised my kids here, they went to school here. But a lot of our friends, when the kids were in preschool, said, okay, I'm here for preschool, and then we're going to move to the suburbs for kindergarten. So when my kids were 2, 3, and 4, they formed these strong bonds as one, in a childish way, when one does when they're, when you're little. But still, they had these, best buddies that they went through preschool with for 3 years, that I thought in my head, oh, these are going to be friends for life. And a lot of them moved out of the city to live in the suburbs. So my kids really did at a young age experience these losses that did feel like big losses. And many we've kept in touch with because they really were true good friends. And I kept in touch with the parents, and some we just didn't because time and distance, and it just, didn't work. So I do understand what you're saying, that a big move, like those things resonate when you're older, but I think little kids can experience this as well. And I saw it with my own kids. Um, And it's hard, like at any
Melissa,
age.
I think that they can imagine it.
That's true too.
The same way that they haven't seen the dragons, but they can still enjoy a good dragon story.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And I
I think
hope,
that
and I
yeah,
hope, I
yeah,
hope so. Yeah.
I think this is so well written that
Thank you.
it overcomes these challenges and all
Thank
the
you.
letter throwbacks and the
Yeah.
which brings me now to my next question. You're young. If I remember correctly, you had a career as a lawyer once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I met my husband in law school at Georgetown Law School, and now my daughter is a junior at Georgetown. So it's kind of a nice full circle moment for me.
Did you leave the law, or are you still lawyering?
I'm once a lawyer, always a lawyer, but I'm not lawyering. Um, but I was also during law school and like a law fellow, which was a legal research and writing instructor, where I taught lawyering skills to younger students. And then after I worked for several years in a law firm in Washington, D.C., I had a job at two law schools teaching in the lawyering skills program as an adjunct professor. So I did love like lawyering myself, but I also love teaching. And so teaching was kind of a constant thread throughout my career. And what I really liked also mostly about being a lawyer was the research, the writing, the communication, the analysis. And I feel like my brain always works in that way. Like I'm always using my lawyering brain because, like there's so much research that goes into writing these stories. I mean, even though, Hazel and Mabel is a raccoon and a bear, I was researching raccoons and bears just to understand behaviors and things like that. So every book that I do a lot of research, even if it doesn't like necessarily make it into the book in an
Mhm,
obvious way,
mhm.
as you know.
I mean, because you're just helping me now with my next question, you see.
Perfect. Happy to help, Mel.
You and I love writing fiction.
Yeah,
This is our go-to place.
yeah,
Um, Sometimes, we can do too much research. We write these stories. I think you did just
yes,
the right amount here. But this is
yes.
bringing me
Thank
to
you.
my next question, which is about comfort zones.
About,
And
say again, comfort books?
about comfort zones,
Oh,
Melissa.
comfort zones. Okay.
And I've known you for a couple of years. And you are a wonderful author of books, uh, mainly for on Jewish topics, for Jewish children. The Hanukkah who want to be read. I don't remember all your books, the Shabbat and
Right. Thank
Challah,
you.
and you happen to have them with you.
I have them. Of course, I have them. I have Sadie Shabbat stories, which is also about a grandmother and granddaughter and the telling of stories. So you can see there's a theme and things that I like,
This was our
intergenerational
first interview,
stories.
right?
That was
Right.
our first interview. And then I co-authored Planting Friendship, Peace, Salam, Shalom, and Building Bridges, Peace, Salam, Shalom. And our world definitely needs kindness and understanding and some shalom in the world. And then, well, it's very
Well,
exciting. I have a new book coming out with Carben Publishing. I think I'm so excited. I don't have the art yet, but I printed out Stella's Special Recipe, a Rosh Hashanah story. Also, thank you, with Carben Publishing, August 4th, just in time for Rosh Hashanah. And it's a story, an intergenerational story about a girl and her grandmother, because I love those. And they have a Rosh Hashanah recipe for their family's favorite stuffed cabbage recipe. And so the great grandmother, Bubby Sophie, and then the grandmother and then the mama have all added little bits of ingredients and little bits of love to the recipe. And now finally, Stella is old enough and it's her turn to figure out how to cook this recipe with her mother and what kind of ingredients and little bits of love she can add. So I'm really excited about this. It's kind of like very near and dear to my heart because my mom and I cooked stuffed cabbage always together and also with my own nana, and my mom passed away a year ago, but when we did before the book I knew was going to be acquired by Carbon, we cooked the recipe together. I have a lot of pictures of cooking the recipe with my mom, and I actually submitted those to Joni Sussman at Carbon when I submitted the manuscript about 3 years ago. And my mom knew it was acquired. So I'm really happy about that, even though she's not here to see it published. I'm really happy she knew that it was going to be a book. So yeah,
it's wonderful. And here again, Melissa, you're going back to your story and your roots, which is wonderful.
thank
But
you.
and very many people, including me, we might be trapped in this, in this comfort zone thing of, who do we define ourselves? And here, what is unique about your new story of Hazel and Mabel is that it's not a Jewish story.
Right. Right.
And well, hold on. Bear with me for a second. Wait, another one. Raccoon with me for just a moment, if you will. So is it possible that now that you've been able to sell a universal story, which is not about Rosh Hashanah and Challah and Shabbat and dreidels, to one of the best publishers in America? People are dying to have books published, and the chance is very, very small. And Sandra has been on the show, and you have published a lovely book.
Thank you.
And I'm saying, I don't see why you shouldn't continue to write stories about dreidels and the Hanukkah. But Melissa, you can write stories for the universe.
Thank you.
You've just proven that. And as your friend, I want to bug you a little bit about that.
Thank you. I have so many stories, so many manuscripts out there. So, okay, we're manifesting this into the world. I mean, how hard it is. And I keep submitting. I have so many.
It's not hard. It's next to impossible.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just such a challenge.
And what about agents?
So I worked with such an amazing agent, Jonathan Rosen at the Seymour Agency, and we worked so well together, and I really appreciated him, and we had such a great relationship. And then he's amazing. And then he left.
I've interviewed him as well. He's a lovely guy.
He's lovely. I know I've watched that interview. He's amazing. And he's doing so much good and putting so much good into the world. And we had such a fantastic relationship. And then he left the agenting business to pursue other parts of his life and to do other amazing things, which he's doing. And so I'm back in the query trenches. So I keep querying. So here I am. I mean, it takes so much to get, to sign with one agent. So I finally did. And I was so happy. And then, it just didn't last. But, it is what it is. I'm back in the query trenches. I'm querying, I have so many books. And you mentioned nonfiction. I have fiction. I have nonfiction, regular books, Jewish books. I have a big list that I'm querying. So I will, definitely keep you posted. And I think as a writer, we keep going, right? It's ups and downs. It's not a linear path, right? We just have to keep going.
Melissa, you're up.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I'm happy.
This is a wonderful book. I love it. And it changes my whole thinking about where you can be. I don't want to paraphrase Dr. Seuss, but you can, the places you can go are, they're yes, borscht, and yes, challah, and yes, matzah and whatever. But I think that you have this great potential to write to humanity in general.
Thank you.
And
I think the world needs that. Yeah.
The world needs that for sure. And now we're going to say a few words. I don't want to talk much about this book because it's about October 7th, and I live in Israel, and I'm traumatized to talk about it even. But just if you could, just a sentence about the book so that people will know that you've co-authored it.
Thank you. So, and I understand completely. So I'm the co-author with Mary Millman and Lishai Lavi Miran, who is Lishan Miran Lavi, sorry, who is the wife of returned hostage Omri Miran. And we co-authored this story. It just came out in December 2025, so a few months ago. And thank God Omri came home in October with that last group of hostages. And we were just, through Lishai's brother, I was introduced to my friend Mary, and I were introduced through Lishai's brother to Lishai and to their story. And so the three of us wrote this story together. It's a very happy and hopeful story, although obviously based on the events of October 7th. But it's the story of their family, basically, but it's also universal. And it's about their dog, Mojo, who was missing after October 7th and then came home. And in the story, the father does not yet come home, but happily, Omri's story had a good ending, but not every story did. But we used a metaphor of a storm to depict what happened, and we wrote it as a universal story so that anyone facing any kinds of situation, it could be a parent who's missing, a parent who's sick, a parent who's in the army, a parent who is in, prison, any situation where someone is missing and someone longs for a loved one, this could apply to. And I'll just show you the ending, which is a hopeful ending. And, we say, that the family, the mother, the daughter, the two daughters and their dog are waiting together, petting Mojo the dog with hope in their hearts for a new sun-kissed day to arrive. So basically, it's a story about resilience and hope and how we have to have hope in our hearts for life to go on. Of course, you can be yearning and missing a loved one in any type of situation, a sickness, anything, but life is good, and we have to have hope in our hearts for a new sun-kissed day. And that's what the story is about. Actually, it was featured in the Jewish Insider today, so we're getting a lot of good press. And it was a pleasure to work with Lishai on this.
Mazel Tov, and
Yeah.
I went to your book launching in Tel Aviv. And
You did, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, I wanted to say
I got to meet all of these heroes.
thank you.
But
I wanted to say the Anu Museum of the Jewish People is our partner, and they hosted this amazing book launch in Tel Aviv at the museum. And I know I was so thrilled that you were there, Mel, and you sent me pictures. I wish we could have gone, but you saw Mary and I did a video chat.
Yes,
that
I did save you an air ticket.
Thank you. Next time we're going to go, and the book is in the museum gift shop for anyone who may be in Israel. It's actually, the book is printed in Hebrew and in Israel, and the two most important things: one, it's the first edition was printed at Kibbutz Be'eri, which was affected in October 7th, and we're happy that they're back up. But the main point is that all proceeds from the book are going to benefit charities that benefit children and families in Israel. So that's really the most important thing, that we want to help. We want to do our part. It's a philanthropic project, and we were so honored and blessed to work with Lishai. And then we met Omri and we had met Lishai before, but we met Omri and his dad when they came to New York in December. He had returned in October. So that was a true blessing. And we were so thrilled to be able to meet him and greet him. And, he was happy that we wrote the book with Lishai. So it's an honor. It was an honor to work on this and a blessing.
Okay, but because I live here where the action has been, I'm a little, you're going to forgive me for changing the subject.
Absolutely. But I was happy you were there. Thank you very much, Mel. It meant the world to me, honestly.
I was delighted to stand in for you, Melissa.
Thank you.
So what does the future hold for you?
Thank you. So, well, I'm excited. I'm excited to keep doing school visits for Hazel and Mabel. I love, as I know you do, I see your pictures as well with the children. I love visiting with children. I do library visits, school visits. I'm doing World Read Aloud Day, which is so much fun.
This is all stuff that you organize? You have somebody who organizes it for you?
No,
or you just shout out, "Hi, I'm Melissa. I want to visit schools."
I do it. I organize it myself. Yeah. I know. I know it would be nice to have someone to help. Marketing. I think for many authors, marketing is hard. It's not my thing naturally. I mean, you said moving out of your comfort zone. It's not really my comfort zone. Like, I don't have, it's hard. I think that's a hard part of being an author. But it's a fun part as well, because it's nice to meet with students, like the pleasure of seeing your book in the hands of children who are appreciating it and enjoying it and reading it and maybe learning a little bit about writing or life through your book is really kind of the joy of writing. So I love meeting with students, and I do school visits and library visits and read alouds in person and online. So I'm continuing to do that with Hazel and Mabel, which is so much fun.
And they pay you money for this.
The schools, yeah, I do paid school visits. I mean, World Read Aloud Day is complimentary.
No, but if they knew the truth, they would be charging us.
Right? I know.
We won't say
it's a joy for us.
Yeah.
It's a joy.
So now I'm going to after this wonderful interview, I'm going to now ask you to help me, because in 2 weeks I'm writing a blog about ideas and inspiration. And you do that every month.
I do, yeah.
So, what are your best tips that I can steal or riff off of?
Okay, good. Well, I will send you some here. But
Unabashedly. No, for everybody listening
absolutely.
now.
Here are a few good ones that I always tell students. Observe everything. Keep your eyes and ears really open for everything, even a snippet of conversation in a playground, in a restaurant, some cute little thing that a child or a parent is saying. So, my book, Ready, Set, Gorilla, and it's Gorilla, G-O-Rilla. I was in Times Square and I saw a sign that said ready, or a billboard, a huge billboard that said Ready, Set, Go. And I thought like, oh, what if it said Ready, Set, Gorilla, and it was about a gorilla having a race? And then what if there was a cheetah who was cheating? So I always say like observe and then say what if, like what if that happened? What if this happened? Then that happened. You can always kind of riff off that. My books, Scarlett's Magic Paintbrush, about a girl using her own creativity. I was in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which is near where I live, in my favorite museum, and I love Monet. And I was looking at the Monets, and I kind of said, "Oh, what if I had a magic paintbrush and I could paint like Monet?" And then my mind just started going. So I'm always, literally, always thinking and always observing and always wondering and bringing curiosity. I think as writers, we're kind of usually generally curious people. Um, so I do that. Also, I think about my own childhood as kind of we've discussed, family rituals. I love looking at family pictures. I'm like the person in my family that puts together photo albums. So I always go back and look at my albums. I look at like family objects, maybe ritual objects from your own or someone else, your own culture, your own religious practice. If there are ritual objects sitting in your home, can you tell a story using those objects?
Mhm.
Did you go on a trip and buy like a little souvenir? Maybe that souvenir will give you something. Like I have a snow globe collection. So my book, The Snow Globe, Return to Coney Island, The Enchanted Snow Globe Collection, I wrote that time travel story because I love my snow globes and I loved also the Magic Treehouse books when I was reading them to my kids. And I was thinking of like, I want to write a time travel book. What could be a vehicle? And I was like literally looking at my snow globe collection, and then I thought, oh, could it be shaking your snow globe and the kids get transported back in time? So I kind of look around my house at things I've collected, um, and things I do. Like I like taking seal walks at the beach. I did that last week, and we saw a few in a bay and a few in the ocean. And now I have a
So
nonfiction book.
here's an idea for a story. What is the seal walk?
Uh, oh, at on Long Island in New York, where their seals, these harbor seals, come. They migrate from Canada and they come to the bay and the beach. They breed and they look for food, and they come to this certain bay.
Because
And I take a walk to see them.
yeah, we see because I'm from Israel, we don't have seals here.
Yeah,
Mind
that's
you, I
good.
did grow up in Canada, but I never
Yeah,
saw a seal in
yeah,
Ottawa,
yeah.
um, or Winnipeg. But when you said seal walk, we go for seal walks. So like, I'm thinking of, people going to the beach and going like this, like for a kilometer, and having a competition as to who can walk most like a seal.
So maybe we have to collaborate on that because my book that I have
Mhm,
written but has not sold is a nonfiction story about
mhm.
seals. So maybe we collaborate, Mel, because I don't have this, but I like it.
Well, are you going to be in New York or not?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be in New York. I can't wait to
Okay.
see you.
So
I can't,
then we'll do it. We'll do
we'll
it.
have to collaborate. I know, and we
And
saw each other a few years ago in New York, and it's been a
it
couple
was,
of years. So
that's for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, so this is a thing, people ask me, because I have a book coming out and where did
yay!
the
Cannot wait.
idea come
I have
from?
it
And I
on
say,
pre-order,
oh,
Mel. I have it on pre-order, so I can't wait to get it.
bless you. Bless you, dear. I'm waiting to sign it for you. So I say, oh yeah, I know where the idea came from. It came from this. I saw a sign at the sea, and then I say, oh no, 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 no. I worked in a place with lots of doors. And then I said, oh no, no, no. 50 years ago, I drew this picture. So there is something in our cognitive minds that say, okay, but I think it's much more complicated than we realize. It's an interplay of the cognitive mind, which remembers something, and all the other stuff.
Exactly. And it's like
So we,
drilling in your mind. It's really like a mining or a drilling in your mind for things that maybe from your childhood or from something you read. Something is in there, and then sometimes it just takes a spark or something you observe or a memory. Sometimes I jot down memories of things that happened as a child or to my own
or
children,
so
things like
so
that.
so
It's in there.
or perhaps a misunderstanding, like
Absolutely. Oh my God,
like
misunderstandings are good.
like going for a seal walk.
That would be funny. We would have a good origin story.
Absolutely, Melissa. So now's a good time to bring up again Hazel and Mabel,
Thank you.
Two Hearts Apart, and
Thank
Gnome Publishing, or maybe Gnome Publishing. I never get that right.
Gnome Road
Um,
Publishing, Sandra Sutter, and they are just amazing. I have to say, for anyone who doesn't know them, the books are winning a lot of awards. They're on a lot of lists. Sandra and her team are delightful.
Melissa, don't rub it in here.
No, I know, and I know
Um,
you know Sandra. She has a
no, but
great too.
you can, no, it's okay. I've been very lucky. You can submit directly to Sandra. You don't need an agent.
You
So,
don't, but she works with agents, but she also has very specific limited submission windows, and I know you have to follow them exactly. She's only open very rarely. She also sometimes does conferences or interviews, and then she'll have an open window after that. But she's not open all the time. And if you do have an agent, submit through your agent to her.
for
Mhm.
sure. Congratulations on this wonderful book, Hazel and Mabel, Two Hearts Apart.
Thank you,
The pronunciation of the illustrator is
Anita Bagdi.
Anita Bagdi, and written by the wonderful Melissa Stoller. And I'm not saying you're magnificent just because your name is Mel,
But Mel to
but
Mel, we have our Mel and Mel thing going on.
we have our melancholy going on.
No melancholy, Mel and Mel. Long live the Mels.
It's been wonderful to see you, and I hope to see you in person
Absolutely. I can't in
in
New
six
York
weeks.
and in Tel Aviv. Absolutely.
Okay, okay.
Absolutely. I'm going to make that as
I'm
I'm going to get there.
I'm game for both of them, and I've been talking to the wonderful Melissa Stoller, and it's a good thing you left the law and became an author. And I am Mel Rosenberg, and I left Bacteria and also became an author. And I'm the host of the Children's Literature channel of the New Books Network. So, Melissa, we're going to say goodbye to everybody. Run out and buy that book; it's gorgeous. And you and I will come back. So just leave
Thank you.
and come back. Bye, bye, everybody.
Thanks for this opportunity, Mel. It's such a pleasure as always to chat with you. I loved
Oh,
it.
me also. Me too.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.